This is Windshield Hoops. What's going on, everybody? This is Jay Wilder Adams today, alongside Zach Rodin, of course, and we got Isaac Condra back on the show. It's not your first time anymore. He's actually probably our most frequent guest now. But right during the finals, 2 weeks before the draft, or 11 days before the draft, from the moment we are recording, how's it going, Isaac?
It's going great. I'm excited to be on once again and talk draft and basketball with y'all.
How are you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great. Just graduated high school a few days ago, and
Yes,
summer.
Congrats.
Thanks, man. 4 more
Zach
years.
is no more childhood, Zach. You're a grown man.
Yep. Legal adult in a few weeks.
Now he has to take the long trip to St. Cloud for college.
Yeah, wow.
St. State University.
Less than 90 minutes for me.
It's a pretty close drive for you, so that's pretty nice.
Mhm.
But I bet you'll be able to, do all your Timberwolves stuff while you're in St. Cloud, so it's not too bad.
For
Yeah,
sure.
but we got a super exciting show today. This is my first show in Paris. Like, as you can tell in the background, it's obviously Paris, right?
Yeah.
You can obviously tell, obvious signs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually in it's like a small like apartment type thing. Basically, it's a dorm room with a microwave, and they call it an apartment because they call it a kitchen, but it's actually a microwave and a fridge. So, whatever. But I'm gonna call it dorm room. It's a dorm room. So, in Paris right now. So, I'm trying to go to the Victor Wembanyama finals this week. We'll see how
They
that
got
goes.
destroyed in game one.
They did. I saw it was like 52-21 at the half. Is that right?
Yeah, it was pretty ugly.
I heard
It
that
was
their
ugly.
opponent's like an extremely good EuroLeague team.
Oh, yeah. They've dominated all year. They have Mike James
Toronto?
leading the show. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, if Victor wins that series, which it doesn't look like it based on the first game, that would be something. That would be something.
yeah, it's going to take a lot, obviously, just because of how well-rounded the other team is and
Mhm.
how kind of young Victor is in that kind of environment. So, we'll see how he answers back with game two. Pretty rough game one, limited minutes. So, we'll see how he does in game two.
The Metropolitan 92 Stadium is literally a 25-minute walk from me right now. So
That's crazy.
It's nice.
pretty quick walk, just like I guess that's a mile or so. So it's
Yeah.
literally right around the corner. I guess a lucky coincidence. No excuses not to go. So we'll see there. But we went on a little tangent there when I was about to mention the topics. But today for our show topics, we have where would we like scoot outside of Charlotte and Portland? Stars that could be traded this offseason. How real is the Brandon Miller steam in terms of, where he's getting drafted, which many people believe he's number 2, and if that's valid. Late draft stock risers for Isaac. And quick mock with trades. And lastly, a draft trivia. I'm not competing in this one, so it's going to be Zach and Isaac. So that's going to be good. But let's start out right away with the Scoot Henderson topic. Where would we like Scoot Henderson outside of Charlotte and Portland? Let's just say Charlotte takes Brandon Miller number 2 overall, right? And number 3, Portland decides, dang it, we want to help Damian Lillard right now. So we are going to trade that pick for a star, which feels very feasible at this point. Let's just say of the many teams that he could get traded to in that circumstance, what are some of your favorite teams he can end up in? Isaac, I'll start with you.
I like the Raptors idea. If Portland somehow gets Pascal Siakam in the 13th pick or something like that, seeing a duo of Scoot Henderson and Scotty Barnes, I think they could play off each other really well. I don't know if OG Anunoby would get traded, all that stuff. They have some nice pieces on that roster already, and I think with Scoot there, give him the keys. A great giant fan base for him. That's one idea, and another idea is Orlando Magic. I think if somehow we can see a trio of Franz Wagner, Scoot Henderson, and Paulo Banchero, I think that's a top maybe 5 big 3 in the East. I'd say.
Already this young?
Maybe not. We'd have to say I'm really high on Scoot as coming in and be able to literally change the direction and have up your wins by almost 10 wins in the next season. And I think with Banchero going to year 2, Franz going to year 3. I don't know. I really like the outlook of that team if they're able to land him.
That'd be insane. Is there like buzz that they're trying to trade up from like 6 and 11 to 3? I saw something like that.
Who, Magic or Raptors?
Magic.
I heard some noise in trying to package their deal, but I don't know if it's true or not. I did hear noise about that. But they could also be very content with the picks they have because they can get swing kind of high for the fences up there, 6th pick, and then play it safe with the 11th pick.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think if you're Portland, like, why would you want 2 lottery picks? Like, I'm not like, obviously 2 lottery picks is cool, but if you're trying to build around Damian Lillard and then you're
Yeah.
like, look, pick 6 and pick 11, I'm telling you, I think Damian Lillard would lose his mind. But
yeah,
they probably want, like, I don't know what else they would want from that roster, like Magic wise. I don't know how many assets they have that Portland would,
right.
like inject their team as win now pieces. So that'd become awkward.
I think Portland would want Wagner.
Yeah, which obviously, Orlando's not doing that. That dude, Wagner's a really talented young player for them going in the future.
Zach, what's your answer?
Well, obviously, it's got to be the team that's behind me, right? I mean, I don't like doing homer picks, but
yeah, you do.
Sometimes I do with like some players, but I think this is like one of the top options as well. I don't know how Portland values Karl-Anthony Towns, but obviously the path to getting pick 3 to Minnesota would be a Karl-Anthony Towns trade to Portland. Not sure what how they value that, but I feel like Cat has to be one of the top stars in the market that Portland could be looking at for that pick. Between him and Siakam are really the 2 like most realistic guys in my opinion. But him next to Edwards in the backcourt, they both grew up in the same town. They're both tough as nails. They're both, superb athletes. Seeing those 2 next to each other, even next to like Jaden McDaniels and stuff, I think that would be electric to watch. And I think they would complement each other well. It'd be showtime. They'd be showtime together. Maybe the most athletic backcourt we've seen. Like
it would be.
With those 2. It would be absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I actually I think all those teams are interesting. I agree with Zach that I think him next to Edwards would just be absolutely fun because you got like these 2 little linebackers in the backcourt, both just superbly loud and electric. And I actually think Scoot Henderson's a great fit with Rudy Gobert, even because I think Scoot Henderson is the best pick and roll passer at the top of this draft. And if you add that with, Ant and Jaden, that would be a fun trio. And honestly, like, I don't know what this Twitter stuff coming from is. Like, Cat isn't a great asset still. Like, obviously, he's not, you're not going to get 5 first-round picks and 4 players for him like Rudy Gobert. But, he's still an all-NBA player at age 27 on a 5-year contract. Would you rather have Pascal Siakam on a 1-year contract, and if you bring him back, it's probably for a similar contract to what Cat is going to make? Or would you just take Cat on the 5-year? I think Cat is the more safe option. If you're Portland, that just makes a lot more sense to me. And you're pairing the best. Okay, that's a different topic. That we're talking about that later. But yeah, I think Minnesota would be fun, and that'd be my number 1. Biased, 100%, 100% biased there. But I do think that'd be really fun. Toronto would be great too. Similar reasons for the athletic dynamic between Scoot and Scotty. The pace, I think, also. Even with Scotty on the team, I think it would be more clear cut than like Minnesota. Like it's Scoot Henderson's franchise, right? He'd walk in and that's his franchise. And I think there's value to that, especially having an entire country represent you. So yeah, that'd be a pretty cool option, especially like OG, like you said. And yeah, Orlando. I don't see Orlando ending up with Scoot because they don't have that star asset available.
Right.
I think Toronto and Minnesota feel like really realistic spots for him.
Yeah, I agree. Those, 2 teams that have like this star player that they could be looking to, offload on. And I think Siakam or Towns provides a lot of value to Portland if they really, really want to build around Dame still.
I wonder if there's any chance the Bulls end up kind of going rebuild mode or whenever if they plan to, because Lonzo's going to be out for the whole season again, I believe. And then they kind of took a step back this year. I just wonder how frustrated maybe Zach LaVine's getting, or like DeMar's only getting older. I know they just brought, or they plan on bringing Vooch back or something like that. So I'm just concerned, or I'm just curious on whenever they decide to blow it up, or like Washington if they decide to blow it up. Those are two teams I want to keep an eye on.
The only thing is the premium stars on those teams would be very odd fits with Shaden Sharp. I mean, Zach
Yeah.
LaVine is, Shaden Sharp is like a young Zach LaVine in a lot of ways. And, Bradley Beal, obviously very redundant. So I feel like those are the teams where like the wrong star would be available because it sounds like outside of Dame, Shaden Sharp is Portland's best overall asset, right? So that's the only thing I would think of. Is there any other team that we could think of? I mean, Boston, probably not. Like, I don't think Boston, Boston, Ant's 21, Tatum's 25. It's a little different pairing, a 19-year-old with a 21-year-old than it is pairing him with a 25-year-old who's trying to contend right now in Boston. I mean, look at Boston's pressure too. They make the conference finals every single year, and somehow that's a failure,
Yeah, the only reason why
spot for a kid.
The only reason why I could maybe see Boston being an option is if Brown like actually wants to leave there, but that would be kind of weird. And I mean, we can talk about Boston later too, but Brown is kind of more of a better case scenario, number 3 overall pick, and it'd be kind of hard to expect a number 3 pick to live to what Brown is right now, and those types of reasons. And I don't know. I feel like the only reason why the Celtics would really do that is if they don't want to go into this cap craziness with giving Brown the largest extension in history.
Here's the thing. Can I just make a little tangent on this? People say that the biggest contract in NBA history is literally going to be the next guy up.
Yeah.
It's not like Cat is going to be the highest paid player in the NBA in 10 years. In 3 years, he's going to be the 19th highest paid player in the NBA. So when I hear that, I get really confused because it's like, oh my God, are you going to give him the biggest contract in NBA history? Well, guess what, buddy? Every star that is about to sign a contract is going at some point be able to say he signed the biggest contract in NBA history. It's kind of how the NBA works. So
I saw the projections of deals on like the CBS Sports article in like 2026. Supermaxes are going to reach to like 5 years, $370 million with the big TV deals and the salary cap expansions and how much that's going to go up. So getting guys on deals right now could look like a big steal in like 3-4 years.
They have to do something about that. Like,
yeah, it can't keep going up every year.
I'm not saying the NBA isn't growing rapidly, but it feels like the rate in which they're paying top players is kind of outpacing everything else. Yeah. Outpacing the league's growth as well as just, what fans are paying for tickets, right? Like, I don't know. They have to do something about that in the next CBA in like 2029 or whatever. By then, there'll be $600 million contracts.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis. Like, it's weird. Zach, no. If I saw
32-year-old Domantas Sabonis,
5-year, $600 million contract.
That's funny.
And then Aiden's going to sign one too.
Oh, gosh. I've been on the DeAndre Ayton thing for a long time. Everybody's just joining me.
I just really have, though.
You guys know I've been on that for a long time.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul.
Well, Chris Paul is just old. I can't take credit for that. Like, my gosh, I predicted Tom Brady would eventually fall off. That sounds like the cliff theory. Like, so stupid. All right. I think that transitions pretty well to stars that could be traded this offseason. Sounds like one, we just talked about Jaylen Brown. Isaac, do you want to possibly elaborate on that one?
What, Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, with seeing how his I think it was his after they lost to the Heat in Game 7. I was watching his interview and it sounded like he might come back and sign that extension. He might end up or whatever and get traded. I'm not sure where he'll get traded to or what the team would be like for him. But I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of teams calling for Jaylen Brown, even though I'm not as high on him as some other people. But
I'm sorry. I meant to say Zach. Because Zach said that, but I just threw him. I put words in Isaac's mouth.
I was kind of confused. Like, are we talking about
Zach? I meant to say Zach.
Zach, you could take it from here.
Yeah, like because Zach said that, but then I said Isaac, and Isaac's like, "Oh crap! I wasn't going to say that." My fault.
I mean, there's a lot of like stars that could be dealt based on like what the on like the front office's direction might be. Like Bradley Beal from Washington, they have like whole new front office down there. What type of direction does that team want to take if they want to fully go to a rebuild? Does a team like Philly want to come in if they lose James Harden and snatch up a Bradley Beal type to push Joel Embiid's timeline as an MVP type player? Because it would be really hard to see Embiid wanting to stay in Philly to me if they lost Harden and they did like nothing after that. And they have a contract with Tobias Harris that they can package in that deal, expiring deal to Washington, which kind of help both teams out. Karl Anthony Towns as well. For Cat, there are questions still if he's a legit championship number 2. He's been really inconsistent in his playoff career. It's either, he's either really bad or really good in those games, it seems like. He's off and on. But it's mainly going to be coming down to the cap space in the contract because you can't pay and Jaden and Gobert and Cat for the next few years in the CBA. It's not going to work. So you either have to absolutely buy – like the only reason why they would keep Cat, in my opinion, is they actually think that Cat can win a championship with this team as a number 2 option, and that would happen.
Like next year.
Like, if you don't think that, I think you probably have to move him because I would understand why you would keep Cat if you actually thought that next year they could win a championship, but I don't think that's something you should do because I don't think they'll be one of the frontline contenders next year.
The best player's 22 years old.
Yeah,
that
not
never
even yet.
happens.
But yeah, it's going to take a few more years for the Wolves, because Ant, he's not even close to his prime yet. And yeah, but I'd say, him, I think Bradley Beal's a low-key underrated one too. Maybe a sign and trade with like Harden if they did something with the Rockets. I don't know. But Cat's kind of the guy I've been looking at a lot for that.
Isaac, I'm actually calling on you this time. The first time I met Zach because he talked about Jaylen Brown. I put that into your mouth. But all right, you want to elaborate on this one actually?
On which one, the Jaylen Brown one, or just add on to
No,
anything?
just like what's your take on this topic? I'm doing really bad as I'm doing a really bad job.
That's funny. Stars that get traded. One thing that I am curious about in this offseason is like Chris Paul situation. Because like it was reported he was getting waived. And then now it's kind of like he might get waived and re-signed, or he might end up, going somewhere else, or he might get traded. I think I'm really curious because they have a bunch of expiring deals on that team on the Suns. So like their roster could just look completely like this. Ayton and Paul even on the team next year? It's something I'm curious about because that team, aside from Booker and KD, are the only ones I'm confident in being on that team next year. So I'm curious on what the Suns end up doing with like CP3. Like, does he get signed to a smaller contract if they waive him? What can they get out of Ayton? What could they even get out of Chris Paul, who's almost 40? Like, I'm curious on what that Suns roster would look like next year. That's one team I think I want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that Suns team is really interesting. Maybe those two get packaged together. For them, I kind of hope that they cut Chris Paul and then sign him on like a small contract. Because I think keeping him around, I think he's a really good facilitator still for your 2 top scoring options. I think he legitimately had like less than a dozen rim finishes this year. I saw a stat from like NBA University on Twitter. He made like 12 shots at the rim this year. Like he's not the same scoring wise. He can still be a catch and shoot guy and stuff, but he's more going to be like a assist, lead at, like 10 assists per game guy. But I don't think Ayton's the right center for that core at all. He's like, I don't know. He doesn't enforce himself. He kind of has like Andrew Wiggins syndrome a little bit, where he's holding himself back.
I've said that for 3 years. 3 years.
Still James take a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's the right player to put on that core that I think that core needs to win next year.
Yeah,
If they want to win it all. I don't know beyond that. It really depends what Kevin Durant looks like in 2 years, projectively, with how his injuries have trended down. His time's definitely running out, in my opinion. I don't think his talent's really fallen off at all, but his availability on the court really has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are all good names. I can't disagree. I just think the new CBA, we're going to see more star movement based off of finances.
Yep.
It's going to be weird because I think we're going to see like kind of a balance out with. I mean, the Kevin Durant trade doesn't happen if the new CBA is out, right? The Rudy Gobert trade last summer doesn't happen if the CBA was a factor. So it's going to be weird because like those trades that like make expensive teams more expensive, I don't think are going to happen. I think we're going to see stars moved when teams can't afford them if they have 3 or 4 of them, to like repivot and reset the financial clock. And in addition, I just wanted to say that I think KP this summer is like someone to like just think about. I mean, Washington's bringing in like all these guys, and I listened to the Woj pod with the Wizards owner, and he kind of talked about the success of the Wizards rebuild when they decided to rebuild for 3 years, and they had a top 3 pick 3 straight years, and they ended up with John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Otto Porter Jr. Right? I know there's a polar bear in Arlington, Texas, when I mentioned Otto Porter Jr. in that group. But still, 3 straight top 3 picks. And I felt like that was kind of a hint of something to come, maybe with KP, maybe with Bradley Beal. So just something to look out for. I'm not sure if you consider Kyle Kuzma a star, another guy to mention. You mentioned DeAndre Ayton, so I'm going to mention Kyle Kuzma. What the heck am I talking about?
Kyrie Irving.
Oh, I think Kyrie Irving stays personally,
Yeah,
but I can see him in Phoenix. Otherwise, I think you have to mention Dame at least once. I mean, what if Henderson's available and Mike Schmidt's in the background is hammering the podium saying, "Gosh, give us Scoot Henderson. What are you delusional monsters thinking that you're building a title team with Pascal Siakam?" Right? Maybe that happens and Dame leaves. That's something to mention. But if I had to guess this offseason, the most likely stars to get traded, I would guess, honestly, one of the Wizard stars. Pascal Siakam, Chris Paul, and Karl Anthony Towns. That would be my guess on the 4 guys. Minnesota is like the first team that's kind of looming on the CBA right now with the timeline of their contracts because Ant and Jaden's contracts kick in next summer. Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody thought Jaden was going to sign a $125 million contract when Rudy Gobert got traded there, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, I would say those 4 guys are the ones I would expect to get dealt, but, don't sleep on the other names you guys also mentioned.
For sure.
Agreed.
And, okay, so a lot of stars, that was kind of honestly a pointless segment because we were like, okay, what stars could get traded? Then we mentioned like 20 different guys and only 3 of them will get traded. So that's kind of how it works. But that's like we'll do this topic next season. It'll be the exact same darn thing. Maybe with the same names. I'm not mentioning Miles Turner anymore. He's out of this conversation. I know he's not getting traded. So now let's transition to more draft stuff. Isaac, this is kind of more on your side because you, ever since you become big time on Sports Illustrated, right?
Right.
Everybody, all hail Isaac right here, Sports Illustrated. Right here. I'm bowing down. But okay. So he has a lot of connections now, and he's pretty plugged in. So, Isaac, my question to you is, how real is the Brandon Miller's team in which, like, of his draft position? Because it sounds like all the major names are saying that Miller is the likely pick at 2.
Yeah, I think right now it's kind of lean towards him, but it's far from decided. I think it's about 60-40 leaning towards him. Shoots very well in the contention of going number 2. I think the fit, it just like the way you look at it, it's kind of like what LaMelo, he kind of is the league guard. He has the keys to the franchise right now. And how will it affect him if they say Scoot Henderson's second pick, a point guard, 6'2" point guard, that would also need the keys to the offense. I think will that affect how LaMelo looks at like? Do they actually like with LaMelo question? Do they still see me as the guy, or are they trying to have Scoot be the guy? Something like that. I think
Yeah.
Brandon just fits a little bit better as a guy that can spot up as a shooter, which I can see from the front office perspective, scouts, all that stuff. Because you get a 6'9" shooter, shot maker, extremely talented, was very good for Alabama, who was one of the were finished as the number one overall seed in the turn or in the country. So I mean, best player and the number one overall team in the country is very impressive as a freshman. So you pair that with LaMelo, Mark Williams ended the season kind of strong. You have him down low. I'm assuming Miles Bridges is going to be all good to go next year after whatever. So you'd have a pretty solid squad there. I don't know if it's playoff contention right away, though. I'm still not too high on the Hornets as a team. After if they were to get Miller, but I think actually he's supposed to work out with them tomorrow or something like that.
He worked out with them today.
Today, okay.
I
So
haven't heard anything about it, or he might be there right now. It's
yeah.
I forget. It's like 3:00 where you guys are at.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think it doesn't really matter what he does in the drills or anything. It's more so about the interview for him. How will the interview go? He'll get to ask some pretty intense questions. If he kills the interview, I'm pretty confident he'll be the number 2 overall pick. If he totally flops on the interview, it just doesn't look good, and Scoot works out for them soon as well, then Scoot could very well be the favorite there. It's undecided. We'll probably know their choice or get a good idea of who they're picking by the end of the week.
I think the only way he can mess up his interview is if they ask him a question and he goes you know what, talk to my lawyer about it. That would be the only thing that could go wrong.
Right.
Unlike the other prospect in this draft at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Zach, what do you think in this regard?
I'm trying to figure out the big reasons to why, because it's possible that a lot of this could maybe be a smokescreen. I'm wondering what the reasons could be for that. But yeah, I do understand that a lot of executives are saying that teams kind of value Miller over Henderson, which still confuses me. I don't get it, but yeah, the fit is a little bit better to me. I think that the fit with Henderson is a little underrated, and I think the fit with Miller is a little overrated. Even though I do think the fit with Miller is slightly better still because he's not going to be as much as a ball handler, and LaMelo Ball can be on ball a lot more. But yeah, I think they would have their struggles right away with your top 2 scoring options for the future being bad rim finishers, and attacking the paint and stuff. But I'm not 100% sure on how real this team is or not. I still believe you pick for talent at the top at number 2, even if you have another guard there. But I think a team as bad as the Hornets, you got to go with talent.
Isaac, what do you think about that? Because it's not sounding like a pure fit thing to me anymore. I'm hearing Kevin O'Connell and Jonathan Givony and even Woj reporting about other teams thinking about this. It doesn't sound like it's only a fit thing. Only NBA Twitter thinks it's a fit thing. I hear that all over NBA Twitter, but it's starting to sound like NBA teams are legitimately valuing Miller over Scoot. Does that sound real to you?
Yeah, I mean, because I've heard some criticism about how Scoot ended the season, and he ended up ended up shutting the season down after he didn't end the last month too well. Yeah, I would definitely disagree, but there could definitely be some executives and all that stuff and NBA personnel that believes Brandon Miller is in the same tier, if not better than Scoot. I would just disagree for sure, just because I think Scoot's a little bit more dynamic with the ball, and your ceiling's a little bit higher with Scoot. Because we're talking about an explosive point guard who has a mid-range jumper, has improved as a playmaker.
His playmaking was really good this year. I was watching some of his tape, and I'm like, whoa, that got better.
Oh, a lot. It got a lot better. He looked a lot more comfortable this year, given he was older, matured, had a year under his belt in the G League. Yeah, I would definitely disagree, but I guess I would respect their opinion. I think one thing to keep an eye on too, as much as I respect him, and like what he's done for the draft community. Gavoni does have a connection at number 3 with Mike
Yeah.
Schmitz. So watch out for, some things he might report because Mike Schmitz kind of might want Scoot to follow through or something. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a bunch of smokescreen over there.
That's interesting because you also, sorry if I'm interrupting.
Are you good? You're good.
I'm 100% interrupting. My fault. So my question there is like, do you like? I know Gavoni said like, oh, they're not trading the pick basically the other day, and I keep wondering, was that like a smokescreen to help Schmitz? Like, weren't you thinking the same thing, or do you think there's validity to the top 3 picks are never traded, which is not true. It's happened.
It's happened.
So what did you think? Did you see that report, and what did you think of it?
I think it's just all smokescreen, to be honest with you. It's like some stuff with those top teams, they're just trying to get that extra little leverage. They're trying to get that leverage to maybe gain more value out of it or whatever, get the player to follow them or whatever the case may be. I think a lot of it's they call it smokescreen season. I think my very first like post on Instagram, like revolving around the news, I think like the first 3 or 2, like the first 5 comments was like, "Oh, it's smokescreen season." I'm like, yeah, it could be. It's hard to tell like what's true and what's not true sometimes. You just kind of have to try to read between the lines with some of those things that are said. So
100%.
It can be tough. It can be tough to determine what truth is behind each thing they say.
Totally. And also I think the importance of logic in these conversations, like logically thinking in your mind to determine smoke screens, like the cat CBA report the other day or the cat trade rumors that just popped up the other day. I mean, Zach and I have been talking about that for weeks. It just feels like common sense with the CBA. Like I buy into that because it's honestly common sense, right? So, yeah, I totally agree. Zach,
Right.
you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sense just behind trading cat, and we were talking about that.
You can talk about that. I'm doing so bad today. I'm referring to just what Isaac was talking about. This topic.
Oh, about Scoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I just don't know too much about this situation. Like, the steam that's all coming in with Brandon Miller too. Like I get it. Is he the projected like favorite pick right now too? I'd assume like on most.
He's your favorite right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to turn out to be like similar like Jabari Smith situation last year, where he was like the number 1 guy for weeks coming into the draft, and then boom, draft day, everything starts to switch up to Boncaro. I feel like it's kind of be something similar to that because I don't know. I like Kevin O'Connor. I've seen his stuff. I like his stuff. He has Miller above Henderson on his board. But other than that, I don't see too many guys with that similar opinion. I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't get Miller over Henderson. I would be surprised if the Hornets actually have that as well.
I don't know. It just I don't know what to agree with or disagree with because obviously we think Scoot is the guy. That's our opinion. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like last year where it's like it feels like a lot of teams actually think this, which is interesting because it isn't coming from the Charlotte front office that they don't like Scoot, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming from that. It's coming from other executives saying they prefer Miller. So it doesn't feel like a smokescreen in that regard. That's what I find really interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. It's tough to say on which team was preferring who. All that matters really at the end of the day is who do the Hornets prefer because they're not trading the pick. And it might change the value of the number 3 pick because what if the Hornets end up going Scoot goes 2 to the Hornets? Does the value go down a little bit at number 3 or does it go up?
Yeah.
Because certain teams might prefer Brandon Miller over Scoot and be more willing to trade an asset or vice versa. So it could be a domino effect with that kind of stuff, how it always is every year.
Yeah, I just week out of the draft, I'm starting to lose touch with what's what.
Right.
I don't know. This Brandon Miller stuff is really interesting because it feels like he was surging late. And Woj said pre-draft lottery, like he's overtaken Scoot. You saw Woj say that, right?
Yeah.
So, like I mean, why would you do smoke screens if you don't know what pick you are? Like, that's why I find everything so interesting.
Mhm.
And I don't know. You could probably next topic. Honestly, you could technically probably throw Brandon Miller into this conversation, but just who are some late draft stock risers, Isaac, to talk about?
I'll give you two that have really popped to me. Number one to me is Derek Livett the second out of Duke.
Mhm.
Um, the lack of center depth is very noticeable. There's only three projected centers supposed to be taken in the first round, and four projected to be drafted overall. Then the rest are kind of fringe centers. So the lack of center depth is noticeable, and Derek Livett second brings elite rim protection. He improved throughout the season. And back in AAU in high school, he was shooting threes pretty comfortably. I will say he was a knockdown shooter, but he was hovering around a little bit over 30% from three. And then his pro day recently, I think he hit like 16 straight threes or something like that in
Yeah,
front of,
14.
yeah, in front of NBA personnel. I heard at the combine as well during I think his little pro day as well. There, he was also shooting the ball well, um, or his workout there, whatever it was. And I think teams are starting to see like a guy that can be like a rim protection and three guy, someone that can protect the rim, catch lobs, shoot the outside shot. So he's kind of raising a little bit. I could see the Thunder going with them over at 12. Imagine him and Chet down low protecting the rim. The Pelicans could use a rim protector that could also space the floor. He's someone that could go in the lottery. And then the other name is Koulibaly. Sorry, out of
Yep.
the Mets
Mhm.
92. He's been absolutely skyrocketing up boards this last month. Um, Rumors has it that he has a promise in the lottery. So it's unknown what team. It's speculated that's either the Thunder or the Raptors, which would make sense to me, given kind of their track record. He's someone that's really, especially in like the playoffs for the Mets 92, he's really came alive, showing off his defensive versatility, his explosive finishing at the rim, catch and shoot threes, and the upside extremely high. He's like one of the five youngest players in the draft. 6'8", I think like a 7'2" or 7'3" wingspan,
Yep.
moves well. So he's an intriguing prospect, and those are two guys that we could see taking a lottery that weren't really projected there about a month ago or 2 months ago even.
Yeah, Bilal Koulibaly. I really like him. I have a lottery grade on him. I think I have number 12 on my board right now. Um, he's been really nice, and he's like when I watch him, I don't see like a ton of raw talent. I just see like talent there. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I think of raw talent, I think more of like a Maxwell Lewis or like a Rayon Repair. Like Rayon Repair is a good example overseas. Like he's the type of guy that was more going to expect Bilal Koulibaly to be. Maybe more of just like a rotational defender that can have flashes in that end. But he's like actually producing at like a nice level for this team, especially in the playoffs.
Right.
His efficiency numbers look really, really good. He's not like one of these Usman Jang guys who was shooting. I can't remember what he was shooting last year, but some guys were
Under
like shooting
40.
like under 40% from the field and like 20, like low 20s from three and stuff. Like he's actually putting up really good efficiency numbers as well. And like there's like this whole like group of older players that I feel like is starting to maybe rise a little bit. I think partly because of the new CBA and partly because of what we've seen from Christian Braun and what he's been able to produce. And I feel like teams are going to start to maybe lean towards taking more of the proven college guys who have translatable NBA skills compared to higher risk, higher reward type of prospects from college, like the one and dones. And I feel like we could see some of those guys, get picked a little bit higher this year. I'm interested to see what happens there. But yeah, those are the two types of players I'd say.
Jaime Jaquez has to be one of those guys,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, he might be the first senior taken between. It's kind of between him and Tris Jackson Davis,
mhm.
but I lean towards Hackett being the first senior off the board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are all very interesting names. Koulibaly is interesting because I wonder if he wasn't like I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be in the lottery. I'm not saying that. I think what the progress he's displayed throughout the year has been amazing. But I do think because Victor's on his team, scouts are noticing his progress way more
Mm-hmm.
than if he was playing for Lyon or somewhere, right? Lyon, like a very decorated program, but they're not watching them every single game. They're watching Victor every single game. So I think Cole Ball is
100%.
also benefiting because he's getting noticed by just being on the team with the most noticed prospects since LeBron. So I think that's a very interesting little thing to throw in.
Sure.
No, for sure. For sure.
Do you guys think so? Is there anybody that this is just an off-topic question? Anybody who like returned to school this year that you think could go lottery, Isaac?
In next year's lottery or this lottery?
Next year's.
Kyle Filipowski is the most notable name, I feel like, because he was kind of the guy that's projected to go top 25. Skilled offensive big, can really mobile for his size, can pass it. I would like to see him improve as a shooter, though. I think it's the thing that scouts and everybody wants to see from him is consistently hit the outside shot, especially for his archetype and what he does. He'll kind of need to shoot it. And then I think actually my top returning prospect is Riley Kugel out of Florida. Skilled. He came on the season very late. Like the second half season is kind of when he blew up, but it was a little bit too late for him. It seemed like to like raise his stock. He started getting some second round noise, but elected to come back. He's a skilled guard. He's improved as a passer throughout the season. I think he can defend it well. A tough shot maker. Those two probably could go lottery. And those are kind of the only two that stand out to me right now. There might be a couple people slipping my mind, but those two definitely stand out to me.
Yeah, if like maybe like Khalil Ware or like Tyrese Proctor have really big years.
Those are good names.
Like I wouldn't predict them to go lottery yet, but if they have like really, really big years, like Proctor could have an insane role for that Duke team next year, as they're going to be maybe one of the best teams in college basketball. And then Khalil Ware is going to be filling the Trace Jackson Davis role at Indiana. So maybe if those guys have really big years, we could see it.
Good names, guys. And Zach, for the next topic, you have to share the screen because we are doing a quick lottery mock, and we'll do some trades. We can't really like show the trades on the screen, but we can make unofficial trades right here and just tell you that they happened. So you didn't load up the tab? Come on, Zach.
Shoot. Hold up. I got to load this.
Now you messed up the podcast.
Trying to figure out
awkward
this
15
whole
seconds.
thing. All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, we got it. Okay. 9 seconds of awkwardness instead of 15. We're good. All right. Quick mock with trades. Let's get started.
So are we gonna? Do you want to do the whole first round or?
No, just first lottery.
Okay.
Who wants a really difficult decision at 1?
I guess I'll take it.
No, I'll do it. I want to listen to you guys talk draft.
I might know a little more draft than James this year, surprisingly.
This year, dude, like I've been doing draft stuff this year, but not as deep as last year because life's busy, man.
Yeah, so you've had a busy year, so it's understandable.
It's been a crazy year, but I'm proficient. I'm proficient. I have opinions, but
All right, James.
Zach's out here like breaking down Tyrese Proctor, and I watched him in the March Madness, but I haven't broke him down like that yet. So Zach is the expert. All right. Number 1 overall pick, latest Stockerizer in the draft, Brandon Miller out of Alabama. I'm just kidding. Victor Wembanyama, I don't really have to explain. I do think he's the greatest prospect of this millennium. Honestly, like I'm not going to talk about the best prospect in 1969. I mean, I wasn't alive, so I'm not going to do it. But best prospect I've ever seen, and he has all the mental stuff. And while he is 7'5", he is literally the most concentrated athlete of all time in terms of, training and medicine, because he's been literally working on his body since he was 14.
It's crazy. It's
like
crazy.
A freak. It just makes me believe he's going to be healthy. And also, like, he played every single game this year and Scoot missed like half of them. So, like, the durability argument between those two isn't really valid to me right now. So, Victor Wembanyama, oh my gosh, this is the first pick.
All right, you can go second, Isaac.
Second pick, Charlotte Hornets. This is what we would do, right? Or is it based on what we think would happen?
We probably do what we think will happen.
Yeah, the Victor pick didn't really clarify that, did it?
Not really.
So what we think would happen?
Yeah.
Not use your intellect.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2 overall, we'll go Brandon Miller. I think it's close between him and Scoot on what the Hornets will do, but right now I think it's leaning towards Brandon Miller. They'll put him in at the 3. He can play the wing spot, fill it out pretty well. He can shoot it well, play next to LaMelo, who's a gifted playmaker and passer. I think Miller could thrive off that. He could be kind of a secondary ball handler out of ball screens and all that stuff. Still has areas to improve as a defender, even though that got better throughout the season. And as a finisher, and that solidly got better throughout the season. So, Brandon Miller, number 2, Charlotte Hornets.
All right, and then Portland at 3.
Are you trading the pick, Zach?
Well, I mean, I would be trading Lillard and building around Henderson here. I'm taking Henderson. I think if the board falls this way, I think something like that would happen. It would either be a team trading up to take Henderson, or it would be Henderson going to Portland. I don't see a world where those two are coexisting in Portland together. It's going to be one or the other, or weirdly, if Brandon Miller was there, I mean, which is very likely too. If Henderson went to Hornets, maybe you see you maybe see Miller and Lillard together, which would be kind of weird. I don't think Lillard would like that at all.
No.
But if they do end up trading Damian Lillard, I think Henderson is a good way to restart a rebuild. You have pieces around him. I think Sharp's a really nice talent. Him and Henderson, holy crap, that athleticism in the backcourt would be absolutely nuts. I do think they need front court help for sure. Do they keep Jeremiah Grant? Does it make sense to pay him? I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, I think Henderson would be a really great start to that rebuild.
4th pick. Should I go based on what I think will happen? Because I think my take is a little spicier than average on what's going to happen.
Yeah, just do what you think will happen.
Because that's what I did the second pick, I will say.
Yeah.
The 4th pick, the Houston Rockets are going to select Jarris Walker.
Ooh.
I think this is going to be the pick. I think he is an Ime Udoka type player. I think he provides a lot of defensive versatility. I think he provides physicality, grit, and I just think that is an Ime Udoka type player. It gives Jabari Smith a lot of flexibility because I think Jabari Smith can play the 3. I really do. I think he can play 3 at times. And I think Jarris Walker provides that flexibility for Jabari Smith being able to move around. It adds size. It adds switchability. It adds extra playmaking. All those things that Ime Udoka-led teams like, I think Jarris Walker represents, and he's also from Houston. And I also think he's probably the best win-now prospect from 3 to 7. So I think when you consider all those things together, I think Houston's landing James Harden this summer. And if and when that happens, I think Jarris Walker makes extra sense. If not, I think Ahmed Thompson would very much be in the conversation. But I think considering Houston doesn't have its draft pick next year, I think they are going to try to win. And I think Jarris Walker helps win.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because it does seem like they probably want to win next year, and I think the owners are kind of getting fed up with this losing. And if they do want to get James Harden, you probably want pieces to fit around that. And if they do want to get James Harden, yeah, maybe him, Thompson, and Green would be a little interesting. It could maybe work still, but I do feel like Amin Thompson is a prospect that you want with the ball, the ball in his hands a little bit more. And if he was next to Harden and Green, that wouldn't happen as much.
That'd be weird.
I do think it's possible, though. I think he could be like a really supersized, like Gary Payton type player. But next up, you got Isaac with the Pistons at 5.
Pistons at 5. It's tough to say. I think right now, looking from the outside in, I think the Pistons would, even though Amin Thompson falls here, I think they'll go Cam Whitmore at 5th overall.
I don't mind.
I like it.
They probably see it as if they have their playmakers in Kate Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. And they love their athletes, as they just took 2 incredible athletes last year in Ivy and Jalen Duren. So you get Cam Whitmore, you can fill him at the 3, he can play at the 4 just because of his NBA-ready frame, his explosive athleticism. He's one of the best athletes in the draft, and there's a lot of great athletes. This is like one of the most athletic drafts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He also has that little Anthony Edwards to him, not so much saying he is the next Anthony Edwards, but with that blend of power, explosiveness, and shot-making ability, I think you blend that in next to 2 impressive playmakers, a really impressive playmaker in K, and then a secondary creator in Ivy. Whitmore could thrive off that because his biggest weakness is his playmaking ability, in my opinion. I think he would thrive next to those two guys. I think that'd be a really nice young core you have building there for the Detroit Pistons. Hopefully, Cade can stay healthy because he kind of lost a year of development this year. So, but even though Amin would definitely be very intriguing here, I still think they would probably lean towards Cam.
Yeah, I like that. And then at 6, I'm gonna end up taking Amen Thompson. I think it would either be between
That would be a great gift for Orlando.
I think
Oh my
it would be
gosh.
either Amen Thompson or Taylor Hendricks. The reasons why I could see maybe Hendricks going here is because of the team they have a severe need for shooting on that roster, but I think you take talent here, and I think Amen
Agreed.
Thompson falling would be insane for them. I don't fully trust the future of a few of those point guards in the team. Like I do like Markel Fultz, but I don't think he's your franchise, number one point guard. And guys like Cole Anthony as well. I think Cole Anthony's more like a really nice 6-man type guy. So I think putting
Jalen Suggs?
Jalen Suggs, I don't think he's I think he's more of a solid starter. In a few years, I don't think his upside is high enough for that team.
I agree.
But I think Amen, the shooting the spacing could have big questions. I think Franz can space the floor a bit, and you're really going to need Paulo Banchero to tap into more of his floor spacing ability. Maybe you can see him work in the post more like he did at Duke. But I think Thompson would be a great player next to those guys, and he has a lot of athleticism on the team as well. Defense, positional versatility. This team loves taking big, athletic, like type forwards, and he's not a forward, but he's like a big, 6'7" guard, and I think he kind of fits the scheme of how they've been drafting over the last few years too.
I would absolutely love that fit if that was the scenario to happen.
All right, James, at 7.
Look, if I'm Utah and I see Amen Thompson there at number 6, and I had these 8 quadrillion picks to deal.
Yeah.
I'm calling Orlando and saying, hey, do you guys want 9 and 16, or do you guys want 9 in a future Timberwolves pick? Do you want, Ochai Agbaji in the trade? Like, plus 9 plus a future pick. You know what I mean? Like, Amen Thompson in Utah with, what they have with Kessler and Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton, Taylor Horton Tucker, the rest of that gang, like under a Danny Ainge and Will Hardy led team. I like that a lot. So
that'd be exciting.
Now we got the 7th pick.
Yep.
And honestly, I think this is a great fit for this particular player. I'm going to Sir Thompson. I think this is a great spot for him. I like Benedict Mathurin at the 3. I think his floor speed. I think they could use a stretch 4, but I think combining Miles Turner there, combining Benedict Mathurin's shooting, I think he's a better shooter than his percentage year 1. I think it justifies Sir Thompson because he kind of blends Mathurin's playmaking deficiencies, but he also, makes up, and also Benedict Mathurin makes up for the shooting deficiencies there. Assur's ahead of Amen as a shooter. He just has a smoother shot, and he's shown a little more from the second level, even though he's not an efficient half-court shooter at all yet. It's just not Thompson bad. So I think it'd be a great fit, and I think between Assur and Tyrese Halliburton, I think that is honestly elite connective playmaking on that roster. People don't understand. Assur Thompson actually averaged more assists than Amen Thompson did this year. That doesn't mean he's a better passer. Assists, it doesn't mean that, but I think it shows that he is a really good passer, especially as a secondary player. And that makes a lot. That's really nice next to Tyrese Halliburton, and it's also nice to Mathurin, who needs playmaking help.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think he would like aspire to be like an Andre Iguodala type player for that team, and I think they complement each other's weaknesses because I think you already have 2 really nice projectable half court scorers in Halliburton and Mathurin on that team compared to Thompson, who really struggles scoring in the half court right now
and finishing at the half court. He's really bad at the rim.
Like everything in the half court, that's where Assur is struggling right now. But I think putting a big positional defender as well as a secondary creator next to those guys would really help them. But yeah, I like that fit a lot.
That would be exciting.
All right,
number 8.
8 Wizards.
This
Everybody-
is tough-ish. What I would do is a lot different than what I think they would do here, given who's on the board. I heard earlier today that Anthony Black was having dinner with, I think, the GM or something like that today. We'll go Anthony Black, 8 to the Wizards. Just a gifted playmaker, has some burst to him. I think he'd kind of fill in those shoes at the lead guard. I think he could start right away. One of the best perimeter defenders in the draft. I don't know. They're going to make some changes this year. Don't know who's going to be Dell, all that stuff. But you get your lead guard, someone that can play make and defend. I do have major questions about the scoring in the half court. Obviously, there's shooting concerns, but I think he finishes well around the rim. He has a nice little floater. Can defend, pass, all that stuff, and that could be very beneficial next to a guy like Bradley Beal. So number 8, Anthony Black to the Wizards.
Yeah, I like that. I think that team really needs a guard. Okay, I got the Jazz at 9. I was kind of hoping a nice point guard be available. You got. I just watched a mock today, and they had Jalen Hood-Schifino go 9. I'm not going to do that, but I think that's an option. I'm going to go with Taylor Hendricks. A really, I don't know. I think he's like number 7 on my board right now. I think he's kind of similar to what Jabari Smith was last year, as a really, nice, spot up shooter. I think he shot 39% from 3 this year. He does lack a lot off the bounce and at the rim, but he's a phenomenal defender. He can block shots. He's switchable. I think he would really, I think he'd be a great fit next to, especially a guy like Walker Kessler, somebody who doesn't space the floor very well.
Right.
And projectably, Walker Kessler is the center of that team's future. So getting shooting next to him would make a lot of sense. And I think Hendricks, I think he's also kind of similar to like Jaden McDaniels from the Wolves. I really like Hendricks.
I don't like talking about my team.
Yeah, we'll ban the Wolves from the rest of this. All right, James, you got Mavs at 10.
I want to make a comment about 9. I think Coulibaly is going 9 to Utah. I saw a report. I don't know who it was from. I can't remember, but they said they think he's going in the 9 to 16 range. And you know who has pick 9 and pick 16?
I reported that.
You report. He did. He's official, everybody. I saw that on Rafael Ballo's show too.
Yeah, that's kind of where the word is that the highest he'll go is 9. He's expected to kind of go between that 12 to 14 or 12. He's expected to go 11, 12, or 13, but the lowest will fall. The highest will go is the Jazz. The lowest will fall is to the Jazz.
That's something to think about. And there's also a lot of those point guards in the middle of the first round, right? You talked about. So that feels like a route to think about. And you know what? Because none of you cowards did it. I'm going to do it. I'm doing a trade. This is honestly like inspired by AM Hoops. So Atlanta makes a trade.
Ooh.
And we are doing a little bit of a center swap. So Clint Capella is going to the Mavericks as well as pick 15.
Am I even able to do like?
I don't know. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, we'll just whatever.
Switch 15 and 10. Who cares? So the trade's basically Clint Capella and pick 15 to the Dallas Mavericks, and Tim Hardaway Jr. and pick 10 to Atlanta.
Okay, I don't know why, but this is Atlanta's pick here for everybody that's watching.
Okay.
All right, so who are you taking with Atlanta? Atlanta.
I don't really care about Tim Hardaway Jr. on my roster. I might trade him again. So I'm going to take Grady Dick, number 10. Atlanta needs more shooting around Trae Young. They have AJ Griffin. That's a big step. For some reason, they don't like to play him. I don't understand. But they need more shooting, especially around, like, you have DeJounte. And honestly, moving Clint Capella helps with the shooting a little bit, even though Okongwu isn't helping much. And they get a really good shooter here in Grady Dick, who's athletic and honestly, like, he's a smart player. He's a connective passer, and he's got defensive tools. He's intense. He's not a great defender yet, but he plays really hard, which is a good sign. right? So I think he's a really good fit next to Trey and DeJounte in that rotation. Kind of your Kevin Herter replacement, but a better athlete.
Mm.
All
So
right.
I'm here at 11.
Yep.
This is where it gets tough a little bit. They got Amon Thompson at 6, which I think would be an absolute steal.
Shooting.
They absolutely need shooting on this roster. Tough to say, but we're going to reach a little bit where I personally wouldn't do, but I could see them doing this with Grady Dick going 10th because they would probably value this pick a lot right there. Jordan Hawkins to 11th. I think they get, in my opinion, he's the best shooter in the draft. I mean, I was watching film the other day. His ability to come off screens and nonstop moving is just next to none in this draft. Unreal movement shooter. Every time he shoots it, you just think it's going in. No matter where he's shooting it from, it just looks like he's going in. Doesn't have much star upside, but when you have Alman Thompson, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, you don't really need that star upside here. Kind of play it safer here. So you get that guy that would absolutely stretch the floor. Kind of has some sneaky explosiveness at the rim. So you'll get him, someone who competes, has winning that was the key part to UConn win the national championship last year. Plug him in at the 2 off the bench, or if you plan on starting him, whatever the plans may be. So at number 11, Jordan Hawkins from UConn.
Yeah, I like that pick. This is like where it would make sense to take Fit, especially because I think they have their stars, and it's just like, filling the best players possible around them. And I think he's going to be like one of the best movement shooters in the NBA pretty early on too. Like he's absolutely nuts, like the elevation he gets on his shots and everything like that. But we got the Thunder, and this is 100% like this is a complete Oklahoma City Thunder pick. I'm taking Bilal Coulibaly. Not only do I think he's worth it here at 12, he's number 12 on my board. So this is exactly like where I would, have him going as well. I think he's worth it. I don't think he's nearly as raw of a prospect as a lot of other, players overseas are. He's been huge for Mets 92 in their playoff run here. And ever since he's gotten more of a usage with that team, he's consistently played well. Through it, his efficiency numbers are really, really well. I mean, good. I think he's shooting like nearly 55% from the field and mid 30s from 3 or something like that. He's a really big time athlete as well. Good defender, good positional size. I think all of that just screams Oklahoma City pick. And I think this is like a more like non-raw version of it. And he's one of the youngest players in the draft, by the way, too. All right, James.
Toronto at 13. It's very interesting. You know what? I am going to mock somebody. I don't think it's been mocked as Toronto. Jakob Poeltl's cool. Precious Achiuwa is cool. I'm going to take Derek Lively.
I like that.
I think you have a blend of Jakob Poeltl in his size, and then you have Derek Lively, who provides similar rim protection and size, but he can space the floor. I think it provides leverage also for Toronto and like Jakob Poeltl free agency negotiations a little bit, right? It provides a little bit of free space if something doesn't work out with Poeltl. And he also just is a really good fit next to Scotty Barnes. I was also looking at Hushafino because he feels like a Masai type of point guard. But
right.
I went Derek Lively, and I think Toronto would bet on its development staff to get the most out of him offensively.
Like that.
All right, last pick of the lottery, Pelicans.
So, looking at the board, I think he's probably the best player available, and I think he would actually fit Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson pretty well. Even Trey Murphy. I'm going to go Cason Wallace here to end off the lottery.
Like it.
Cason Wallace, arguably the best point of attack defender in the draft. He can shoot it well off the catch. Nice mid-range jumper. He's an extremely efficient finisher around the rim, even though he doesn't get there quite often because he's not extremely quick off the dribble and at the most shiftiest guard. But he has some passing chops. He plays extremely hard, tough as nails. And I like his off-ball defense. I think he's one of the best shot blocking, if not the best shot blocking point guard in the draft. So I think his fit next to Bi and Zion would make a lot of sense. Even though this got a guy like Dyson Daniels last year, I think Kaysen has a little high. I think Kaysen's a guy that like you see a high floor, but his ceiling kind of gets a little bit underrated. Because I legitimately see some Drew Holiday and some Kaysen in Kaysen Walls.
I love that pick. I just think the Pelicans could use some. I think Dyson Daniels and Kaysen Wallace is a really good young core. Alongside Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson when he's not getting trashed on Twitter. So, yeah, that's a good pick, and that's the lottery right there. We only had one trade, which was at pick 10.
We can admire how I messed that up and didn't send the I didn't send the pick, so it looks like the Mavericks just got pick 15 for nothing. That's the Hawks pick, though, guys. Remember,
guys, don't make Zach a GM.
Don't make me the GM, please.
But yeah, Victor 1, Miller 2, Scoot 3. Dame gets traded this day, right? So Dame got traded.
Yeah.
Zach. Jarris Walker 4, Whitmore 5, Thompson's 6 and 7. Don't want to say their name twice. Anthony Black 8, Taylor Hendricks 9, Grady Dick 10, Jordan Hawkins 11, Kolabali 12, Lively 30. I feel like this would be the right order. This feels right. It really does. And Walker is like the reach of the draft, but you know what? The fourth pick is always a reach. Just look at history. Keegan Murray over Jaden Ivey, right? Scotty Barnes over Jalen Suggs, even though that was right. Patrick Williams 4, DeAndre Hunter 4. I mean, we can go back and back. It's almost always someone who's considered a reach. So don't sleep on it. So yeah, that does it for the lottery mock. We'll do another one next week before the draft. And I'm actually going to stay up, try to find a draft party here in France for Victor. See if I can find one.
Oh, you probably will. I bet you will.
You definitely will.
Yeah, that would be really fun. And to end the show, we are going to do a draft trivia game. And it's going to be between Zach and Isaac. First 2-11 guys. I'll ask, everybody has turns. So if I ask Zach first and he gets it right, he gets 1 point. If he gets it wrong, which he probably will, it goes to Isaac, and he gets 2 points. But then if both of them get it wrong, then it's a half point for Zach. If he gets it wrong again, then Isaac gets 1 point. I'm just trashing Zach for no reason today.
I'm 0-1, so I need to get a win here. I need to go back to 500.
I'm either 0-1 or 0-2. I can't remember.
Okay. Well, somebody has to win, dang it. I'm not staying up that late. Okay. So the first person I am going to ask about Miles Turner. Zach.
13.
No.
Wait, no, I know.
I think I know. Is it 10?
No. Zach.
7.
No, what the heck?
11.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was 10 or 11. And if it wasn't 10. Okay.
Isaac, 0.5 points. Zach, 0. Okay. Half a point, guys. All right. What pick was Drew Holiday? Isaac.
7?
No. Zach?
9.
No. Isaac?
6.
No.
5.
No.
No, it wasn't.
He didn't go lottery. He went 17th overall.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
My brain's messing up then.
Yeah, it is. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. Next player, Zach. What pick was Josh Jackson?
I swear I'm mixing up 2 people right now because I'm thinking about somebody that went really early and then somebody that went later in the first. I'm going to guess 20.
No.
4.
Zach.
Yes, dude. I was either going 4 or 20.
Why'd you come up with 20?
I was thinking of
Justin Jackson got 20.
I was thinking of some other Jackson.
Justin Jackson, who went 15. You got that pick wrong too.
Yeah. I was thinking about somebody else. I swear.
I'm just with you. All right. So Isaac has 2.5 points. Strong start. Isaac, it's your turn again, right?
Mm-hmm.
What pick is Nikola Jokic?
44th?
No.
41.
Yep.
Yes.
Wait,
I
let me
got that wrong.
because I'm pretty sure that's right. Let me make sure because I know it wasn't 44.
Yeah, it's 41.
Dang it.
Yep, 41. Jokic with 41. So Zach has 2. That's a comeback.
Let's go. Oh, comeback time.
Okay. Next person. Let's keep the theme going. What pick was Michael Porter Jr. Zach?
He was 13.
No.
14.
Yep. Okay. What pick was CG McCollum?
Wait. Damn, hold on. 2013. Was he? Bruh. Was he 11th?
Let me make sure that's right. My internet still isn't up. It's nope.
I think he was 12.
No.
10?
Yep. Isaac has 5.
I knew he was later lottery.
Isaac has 5. Or no, 5.5, right? No, 5. Isaac has 5. Zach has 2. All right. Zach, it's your turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Should I be nice to try to get it? What pick was Torian Prince, Zach?
Ooh, I don't even know this.
I don't know it.
I have an idea, but
17.
No.
I'm going to go 22nd.
No. Zach?
11.
No.
23rd?
No. He went 12th.
Really? I don't know. I thought I recalled him going late.
Okay. Isaac, what pick was Nikhil Alexander Walker?
15.
No. Zach?
14.
No.
16.
No.
12.
No. He went 17.
Oh my gosh.
I thought he was a late lottery guy.
He just missed out on the lottery.
He's on my team. I should know that.
Wait, Zach, is it Isaac's turn now? Is that right?
Yeah. Wait, no. Yeah, it's my turn.
No. Yeah, it's
Oh,
the
okay,
same.
Zach, what pick was Chris Paul?
I should know this. I should really know this. 3?
No.
5.
No.
Why don't I know this? Was he 4?
Yep.
Okay.
Dang.
Zach got a half a point. 2.5 to 5.
That was a cakewalk. I got that one wrong.
Okay. It's Isaac's turn. What pick? Giannis Sabonis.
Pick what's the bonus? He got drafted to the Thunder. But on what pick? Getting like 16th vibes.
No. Zach, your opportunity.
12.
No.
18?
No. Zach,
19.
11. No. You went 11.
Jeez, I was one off again.
Man, I'm selling.
So this is Zach's turn.
Yeah.
Zach, what pick was Shaden Sharp?
Oh, 6.
No.
Oh my
7.
gosh. No way I missed that.
What, Isaac?
7.
I'm going to give you 3 points for that one because Zach was so stupid for that. I'm just kidding.
Hey, bro.
Hey, Isaac has 7. Zach has 2.
Who had 6 again last year?
Who had
Yes.
6 last year?
I think it was the Pelicans, no? That's
No, that was 8.
Shoot.
Gosh, who had? Oh, it was Matherin, Pacers.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Bro. I should have had that. Why did I have 6 more?
Okay. What pick? Why am I losing track? It's late here.
My
Isaac.
turn.
See, I'm a really horrible host. Isaac, what pick was Kobe White?
8?
No. Zach?
11.
No.
7.
Yep.
Dude. I thought he was later.
7.5 to 2.5.
Oh,
Zach, what pick, Zach, was Mikal Bridges?
14.
No.
10.
Yep. It's a blowout, folks.
What's
9.5 to 2.5. Isaac's turn. Okay. What pick was Nasir Little?
22nd.
No.
I swear he was like a lot higher than that. 8.
Nah.
No.
I think not that high. I swear he was a lot.
He was late, if I recall.
Dude, what?
I think 27th.
No.
24.
25.
Dude, I thought he was a lottery pick.
Zach, I'm going to pass out at the end of this, dude.
This is why I'm usually the host of this.
Zach, what pick was Damian Lillard?
I'm probably not getting it. Weber State. He was like 6.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody. My apartment is 2 guys and 24 girls. I'm going to run to every girl's door and tell them that you got this answer right, Zach. Congratulations. They won't care, but I got you.
Oh.
All right, Zach, 3.5 to 9.5. All right. So, Isaac. Okay. What pick was Tari Eason?
Here's this pick. Dude, he went 17th.
Yeah. 10.5 for Zach. Okay, let's keep the theme going, Zach. What pick is Jalen Green?
Jalen Green?
Yeah.
Dude.
There you go.
I'm not that dumb.
No, I'm trying to get you back into the game.
Question here.
Back into the game a little bit. Trying to get you back into the game a little bit. All right. Isaac, what pick was Dylan Brooks?
I actually think he's a second-round pick. 32nd?
No.
34.
Can the internet load? Sorry, it's loading right now. Okay, no.
$38?
No.
36.
No. 45.
45. Yeah, he's a second round guy.
All right. Zach, what pick was let me think. What pick is Rudy Gobert?
30.
No.
No.
Well, hold on.
I know now.
27th?
Yep, that is game.
Bro. I didn't even know. I was guessing 29 after.
Zach is the permanent host of this show. I'm
Yep.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Nah, that was fun, guys. That was really fun. So Isaac is 101.
Yep, first win on the show. Stamp it down. First of many.
And then first mini. And Zach is, what do you own to?
1-2.
Wait, what?
I'm like 0-2 or 0-3. I think I'm 0-2.
Zach, you know what you're going to do? You are going to do my pandemic drill, and you're going to turn on every draft since 1997 and have a bag of hot M&Ms in front of you.
You put in the microwave before, eh?
Yeah. You might gain 20 pounds, but you know a lot more draft stuff.
Worth it.
You can tell everybody, like, no, those 20 pounds came from draft knowledge, not M&Ms, right? It's knowledge fat.
It's funny.
But all right, so that does it for the show. Hour 19 into this show. That does it, everybody. Thank you guys so much. And before we end the show, Isaac, Zach, do you guys want to say anything?
Nothing much. Follow me on Instagram at Global Scouting, Twitter Global Scouting, and you can see all my articles on Draft Digest / Sports Illustrated.
I'm going crazy on the scouting this year. I've done 29 guys. 29. I'm trying to do like 60, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to cram this in because I start work tomorrow. So I won't be able to do as much. I'm trying to do like 3 a day or something right now. I might get to like 45 or something. We'll see. But I'm at 29 right now.
Zach is doing big things. He graduated high school, and now he's getting the work in. He's killing it in life. Yeah, Zach, you should post more draft stuff, man. You're good at that.
On like TikTok?
Or anywhere. I don't care where you do it. You're good at it. It doesn't matter.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'll probably do so. The Timberwolves don't have any first-round picks this year, so it's kind of hard. I wish we did.
Yeah, they do. They have pick 3.
Like, I would love to be posting stuff, and I'll do some posting like the second round guys, but that stuff's a lot like more boring. But I do have some guys that I like around that range right now, so we'll post about them.
Man, the day Scoot Henderson has been traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm gonna go get a bottle of wine right after that happens here in France.
Yeah, sounds fun.
This will be great. I'll go with Rudy Gobert too.
That'd be awesome.
Right? Let's pray that happens. And that's going to end the show. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. And we are going to be back next week before the NBA draft for sure, after the Nuggets probably win the finals with the way things are going. So thank you, everybody, so much. And we'll see you next week.